So a big welcome. I see Miri has joined us. The time has just gone 7 p.m. in South Africa, 8 p.m. in Israel, and a huge welcome to everyone around the world. We have thousands and thousands of people who will be joining us this evening as we broadcast on Zoom, on YouTube, and on Facebook. And a great pleasure, Miri, to have you back. We last spoke to you prior to an impending war with Hezbollah in Lebanon. And a massive webinar, that one watched over 25,000 times. But it's fantastic to have you back.
I'm so pleased that you invited me, and talk about interesting times. Interesting times. Hezbollah will bite into this. It'll be very interesting to be talking about everything going on.
Well, it's such an honor to have you here. And Michael was telling us earlier that you were his boss and you taught him everything that he knows.
He has taught me so much. I don't know if he told you that he just published a new article about the Muslim Brotherhood, which is so important for all of us to read. He publishes all the time. I read what he writes. I'm good at conveying the message, but I need everything that he researches and writes. Amazing.
Well, a big welcome to everyone. As you know, our broadcasts are brought to you by the South African Jewish Report. This is something we began at the beginning of COVID. This is broadcast number 181. We've been watched more than 6 million times by people around the globe. And we're just so grateful this evening to not only have our guests, but also to be joined by Michael Kranzdorf of the Jewish National Fund, South Africa. And Michael has been instrumental, together with Keren Kayemet Israel, in helping us get guests to appear on many of our shows as well. So Michael, welcome to you, and thank you for assisting us in this process.
Thank you, Howard. It's always great to partner with the Jewish Report. I think you do such important work for the community to send out, to get out the news and the truth of what's really happening in this crazy world.
So we know time is short, and we're very worried that sirens will go off at any minute, and I guess we'll have to run into bomb shelters. So I'd love us to actually just kick off at this point in time. And Miri, maybe I can kick off with you. And the fundamental question is, until 1979, Israel and Iran were really good friends. What happened?
The Islamic regime in Iran, the revolution as we call it, from 1979, from the beginning, from Khomeini, now we have Khamenei, that Islamic ideology brought into play an element which to me is very cardinal when it comes to Israel, Jews, and it's the word that I'm going to use, Quds. That Khomeini already, 1979, beginning of 1980, added into the Muslim anniversary calendar in the Islamic regime an extra anniversary day in the month of Ramadan that he called the last Friday, Quds Day. And as far as I'm concerned, from the moment that the Islamic regime of Iran puts Quds Day as the day which is the liberation of Jerusalem, the liberation for Palestine, it immediately means it's the destruction of Israel, viewing us through religious eyes as not being allowed to be here, viewing us as just Western colonizers in that sense. But what I have found over the years, what Khamenei, continuing Khomeini, always said, is that they view themselves as being the oppressed against the oppressor. And these are terms that have come from Khomeini through Khamenei. That was a dramatic change. But I do want to just remind everybody, it's not that the Shah was a good guy. Okay, let's not go down that path. And it's not that before that, Iran was a free democracy that was taken over. Okay, I do want to emphasize that so that it won't be taken out of context.
So, Miri, do they really want to destroy Israel? Is that high up on their ideological and practical agenda?
Practical, I'm not sure. Ideological, absolutely. When it comes to ideology, it's a point where the Islamic regime, and here I think it's the Islamic regime, and it's not the people of Iran, but the Islamic regime within its ideology views the existence, as they'll call it, of the Zionist entity, the cancer of the world. It's almost odd for most people to look and see how many times Khamenei and the commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, and the president of Iran, all of the different decision makers, though there are different statuses, call for our annihilation, call for our destruction, call us a cancer in the world. So ideologically, it's a rallying point. Practically, for over 25 years, I'm not going to say for all of the last 45 years, but certainly since the 1990s, with different types and capabilities of a state. This is a regime. It's a country of 86 million. Practically, in practical terms, the Islamic regime have established units, armed proxies, made sure that both the ideology and the connection there connecting to other terror organizations and entities that want to destroy Israel, but supplying them with weapons, with capabilities, with all of the different things that have been used against us, not just October 7th, but Hezbollah, the Houthis, etc.
So if we can turn for a second to Michael Barak. Michael, if we would go back 2 years ago, Israel looked like it was in a very different position. It had Hezbollah to the north, it had Hamas to the south, it had a very unfriendly Syrian government to the east, it had Iran as a powerful puppet master. How did Israel allow all of that to happen, to almost surround the country with Islamic Shiite and other forces?
Well, first of all, we are witnessing for what happens now in the region. This is a result of a long-term strategic Iranian of building influence in weak states or unstable states across the region. We were witness to several very historical even events in the Middle East, like the Arab Spring in 2011 and in 2003, the American invasion to Iraq. And this was a golden opportunity for Iran to base its establishments in the regions, particularly in Iraq, of course, in Lebanon in the 80s, but Iran was building a wide, extensive infrastructure on those states. Of course, also to increase the influence of Iran in the region, to deter Saudi Arabia or the UAE not to interfere in their internal affairs. And also to deter United States and Israel, again, not to interfere in their internal affairs. Now, look what happened, for example, also in Syria, the civil war. Iran managed to expel many Sunni civilians from the states who found shelter in Turkey and also West Europe. Iran has actually a very extensive plan to expand its influence. If we remember that King of Jordan, King Abdallah, said after in 2003 that he warned the international community to pay attention to Iran efforts to establish an Iranian crescent from Iran to Iraq to Syria, even today in the last years also from 2014 also in Yemen. This is a big plan. Now, Israel is not willing now to interfere in the internal politics and affairs of the neighbor states or other states. It's not our job to do that. This is there are like some devices, global mechanism that's supposed to make sure that there is no any terrorist establishment in these areas. But Israel was not sleeping, was doing in secret things below the radar. For example, it's very important to Israel until today that let's say that until Bashar al-Assad regime was in power, Israel took very seriously the attempt of Iran to establish a power inside Syria. Iran wanted to establish a front base against Israel, and Israel attacked. We know that we heard this in the news that Iran attacked several Iranian and also Hezbollah and also pro-Iranian Shia militias inside Syria, and make sure that it will not be a threat, existential threat to Israel. So Israel, of course, took measures to cope with that, cooperating also with other states. For example, the Hezbollah. Hezbollah, this was like the main threat to Israel. So Israel was trying to convince the international community that Hezbollah will now launch missiles to Israel. Of course, it did not happen. So, if in other words, what I'm trying to say that Israel took measures. Iran was building these extensive proxies. Iran, of course, is not interested to to send its own troops against Israel. It's sacrifice, let's say, cheap meat, which is like the Houthis and the pro-Iranian Shia militias in Syria. Iran is interested that its proxies will do the dirty work. So there was a secret activity of Israel and other Western and also, by the way, Gulf states efforts to minimize and to foil the Iranian agenda or Iranian plan to establish this extensive network that was being also supervised by Qasem Soleimani. Also, Donald Trump did a very good step when he targeted Qasem Soleimani, the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, who was the brain, the mastermind behind this extensive network of Iran. So there were actions that were taken, if it was by Israel and its allies from the Arab states and also the Western world.
So, Miri, there's probably no one who understands the whole region as well as you do. Tell us what the region actually looks like, the breakdown between Sunni and Shiite. Who's on which side when it comes to all of this?
So I like that you started out with the Sunni Shiite because that doesn't necessarily mean that they're enemies. But let's remind ourselves that all of the modern day countries that we have in the Middle East, and for that sense, even Israel, okay, I mean, we have to put ourselves into all of that. All of them are created after World War I. And after World War I, the division of all of these different countries are countries that are done, as I like to put it, by outer forces. So the first thing, Howard, is that's always fun. I get to blame the French and the British for everything, which is true for many things in life. Okay, sorry, British and French, okay? But I say that because that division of all of the different countries was done based on what were great power interests. And I'm not saying that the peoples here were developed and evolved, but you asked about Sunni Shiite. So what ended up is that Jordan is a Sunni country, and Syria is a majority of Sunnis with a minority of Shiites and a kind of Shiites, Alawites, but with three additional significant minorities, Christians, Kurds, and Druze, and that's inside Syria. And those are both ethnicities, languages, and religions. Lebanon is everything. That's one of the biggest challenges because Lebanon actually has 18 different what they call confessions, which are based on religion. If you're Sunni, if you're Shiite, if you're Druze, if you're Alawite, if you're this kind of Christian, because it really has a whole list that says Greek Orthodox, Greek Catholic, Armenian Orthodox, Armenian Catholic, just go down the whole list. And then you get to Iraq, and Iraq is around, I'm going to say 60-40 Shiite Sunni, but it also has a very significant Kurdish population. Saudi Arabia is a very big majority of Sunni, but it has Shiites. And then you get to the Gulf countries. Bahrain is more Shiite, Qatar is Sunni, the Emirates are Sunni. And I give all of those because at the end, it's not that the Shiites go together. Bahrain is mainly Shiite, and it's very threatened by the Islamic regime of Iran because Iran is around 80-85% Shiite. Not all of the Shiites are Persian speaking. And I feel that at the end of what I just did right now, everybody's going to be opening up maps, wondering what I was talking about. The geopolitics of the region are sometimes based on religion and sometimes not. Sometimes what leads it is going to be the Arabism and sometimes is going to be the religion. But Iran and Turkey border each other. Turkey's Sunni, Iran is mostly Shiite. They have an open border. Right now, Iranians are trying to flee through Turkey. Iran and Azerbaijan share a border. Azerbaijan is a Shiite country. I'm just saying that as you go around the way. Pakistan is a Sunni country, and right now Pakistan has been standing up for Iran. So it isn't always the Sunni-Shiite divide, and the different backgrounds also of the geopolitics and who ruled there, and were they under the British, were they under the French? What your geopolitics in that moment mean can also very much impact. Last, not least at all, the largest of the Middle Eastern countries, which happens to be on the African continent. And so it's the most important in that sense, because size-wise, it's twice as large as the second size Arabic-speaking country is Egypt. Egypt is a good 110 million. It is overwhelmingly Sunni when it comes to Islam. It has a Christian minority, the Copts, Used to be 10%. I'd say that it's way below that now, but it's 110 million people. And I say that because when we're looking around at the different equations, none of us are talking about Egypt right now. Iran is around 86 million. Turkey is around 90 million. I gave way too many statistics right now on what they're, all of the different ones that they go into, but all of them have changed their alliances. Egypt used to be with Syria, now they're not. Syria and Iraq have always had a lot of enmity, but sometimes they work together. Iran and Iraq fought a bloody war in the 1980s, and now Shiites, they kind of work together. So I'm saying in that sense that as time evolves, geopolitics evolve as well. Most of the countries in the arena, the Sunni ones, have been challenged and threatened by the Islamic regime in Iran, which is Shiite, but I want to state clearly, they don't call themselves the Shiite revolution. They are their version of Islam. It's an Islamic republic, and it is through the Shiite way and view of Islam.
But just to make things slightly more complicated,
Okay.
the Iranians as well are not Arab. They're Persian. What does that mean?
So let's put in the Middle East, okay? We say Arab, not all Arabs are Muslim. And when we say Muslim, the bulk of Muslims in the world are not Arab at all. Iran is a country of 86 million that the main language is Persian. There are other languages, and as I said, Azeri, there are other languages there as well. And Turkey is not Arab, it's Turkish. So think of it that in the Middle East, the three strongest powers, I don't want to say largest, but strongest, Iran, the Islamic regime of Iran until June 13th, Turkey, and Israel, none of them are Arab, meaning Israel speaks Hebrew, 75% of our population. I shouldn't say that we're not Arab, because we all have a lot of Jews in Israel that are from Arab background, because Arab is about the language Arabic, it's about the culture Arabic. Muslim, and this is going to be my last bit of thing that I love saying just for people, the 5 most populated Muslim countries in the world are not in the Middle East. Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, and Nigeria. Those are the 5 most populated. They're each over 200 million people. That's already 1 billion Muslims. They're not in the Middle East at all. All 5 of them, by the way, are Sunni, not Shiite. But I just give that as a context that when we use the Arab Muslim, that's not correct. When we say Iran, Iranians are totally not the Arabic culture, they're the Persian culture. And of course, there are things that are similar. And last point, to make sure that it's too much information, is that Persian is written in Arabic letters. Turkish used to be written in Arabic letters, and in the 20th century, they made a decision and they changed to what do we call our alphabet?
Latin script.
Latin is the Latin. They changed to the Latin alphabet. I'm just saying that to add in that sense. So that just goes to show the difference between, and I say that because we tend to look at them all as being the same. If you have somebody from Iran who's working with Hezbollah that are Shiites, but they're Arabic-speaking Shiites, Lebanese speak Arabic. So somebody comes from Lebanon speaking Arabic and goes to Iran, they're not actually speaking the same language. Okay, Arabic and Persian are not the same language. So that was called way too much information in a short time. Tell me if you want any follow-ups on any of those, or Michael.
Somebody asked, what's the difference between Shiite and Sunni? Can you just quickly explain to people what makes them different?
Mike is going to answer that one there.
Again, just to mention that there is a cooperation between Sunnis to Shia. I call it sushi. Yeah, for example, Al-Qaeda and Al-Qaeda leadership and Iran are cooperating together. We'll mention it later on. So what is the main difference between Sunni and Shia? The main difference is is the big question: who was supposed to inherit and to be the successor of Prophet Muhammad? Prophet Muhammad, his cousin was named Ali. And Ali is like the founder of the Shia. Now, inside the Islam, there is a big debate between the Sunni and the Shia. If the Shia claims that the descendants of Ali, the cousin of Prophet Muhammad, were supposed to be the leaders of Islam. The Sunnis says no, not those one. The leaders should be from the Quraysh tribe. Quraysh was the tribe of Prophet Muhammad. For example, if you look, the king of Jordan, the king of Morocco, both of them claim that they are the descendants. They have proofs that they are the descendants of Prophet Muhammad, and that's why they have also the right to lead the Ummah, their nation. So this is like the big rift. Who is going to lead? Another difference, and this is not the aim of our webinar, but very shortly. For example, there are Shia who claims that Ali has a divine powers. And this is like an heresy in the eyes of the Sunnis. How come that Ali has a divine powers? Only Prophet Muhammad was the true messenger and with divine abilities. This is like the short answer. We can have several webinars only on that.
Great, thank you for that. I think to zoom into the current conflict, I guess the question is really around Iran's nuclear ambitions. Israel claims that Iran was trying to obtain nuclear weapons, citing the high levels of enrichment, up to 60% of uranium enrichment for nuclear weapons activity. But Iran sort of has been denying that claim, saying that they're not interested in nuclear weapons. Can you tell us, in your expert opinion, I'll start with you, Michael, whether really Iran was interested, or has been interested in getting the bomb?
Or maybe I can address the questions to Miri.
Oh, you're interested to Miri, right? We can take that one then.
This is called We Know Each Other, and we're happy to hand it back and forth because we know where we're going.
Great. We'll let you guys do that.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to say is I love the way you asked the question, because I'm going to answer in the following way. The International Atomic Energy Agency, not Israel, has for the last 20 years, not the last year, said that Iran is trying to go down a illegal nuclear weapon path. They are under supervision. They are signed on the NPT, which is the Non-Proliferation Treaty, so that you have inspectors in Iran. And the inspectors themselves have said time and time again that they're doing things that are not part of the civil nuclear capabilities, but only ones that go down the nuclear path. And the IA, in that sense, the fact that the international agency is there, they're not exactly Israeli, they're not exactly pro-Israeli, they sit in Vienna. I'll just remind you all that we, Israel, are not signed on the NPT, so it's not like we're, in the know. And so first and foremost is that this is something that the entire international community is aware of and has been for many years. The question was not if they were, it was how do you stop it? And the way to stop it over the last 20 years, and I'm all for it, is through negotiation. Let's negotiate and have them stop it. I'm going to avoid South Africa right now because I don't like talking on touchy subjects. And I'm going to say that the international community very quietly negotiated with Libya and stopped it. You can stop a nuclear capability, as Israel did, by attacking a nuclear facility before it becomes what we're going to call hot, before it becomes where you would turn that into a world horrific thing, okay? We attacked the Iraqi nuclear facility in 1981. We attacked 2 months before it was supposed to go hot. We attacked the North Korean-built Syrian nuclear facility in Syria in 2007, before it was supposed to go hot. In this case, Iran, over the last 20 years, the nuclear facility, they weren't letting them, okay, then I'll do a different kind, because there are different paths to arrive at the nuclear fusion, at the nuclear material, and they've gone down every single path. Now, what's the problem? Is that we all like what nuclear capabilities give us in medicine. Go into the hospital and you'll see that there's nuclear medicine, but that's grams, okay? And it's not used for weaponry. But it means that to be able to get to those grams, okay, every country has a little bit, okay? And in this case, Iran has gone down every path. And at every stage, what the International Agency, Atomic Energy Agency, over all of these years has done in every country in that sense is to say, if you're doing it to this amount, that's okay. That's for research, that's for science, that's for medicine. But if you do it to, and that's what's called military grade, the Iranians, the Islamic regime, it's under the auspices of the overall, I don't want to go into it, that doesn't matter, but it's as they've been going down this path, they said they did one, they did another, they did in every way possible. And every time the Atomic Energy would go to them and say, we heard you have another facility, we want to see it, because they're under, and that's where we are. So I'm putting that in the context that they never, that in the agreement that was signed in 2016, 2015, that afterwards President Trump in his first presidency left, that in that agreement, it was supervision of some of the sites, not all of the sites. And because of that, right now, in some of the sites that Israel has attacked, there are the IAEA supervisors are on the ground in Iran right now saying what's happening to those sites. Was that too much? Was that clear?
No, great. But how close do you think they really are or were
Okay.
on the 13th of October?
So here, I think that this is also about think. The international agency, again, this isn't about Israel, just last week said that Iran was enriching uranium to a degree which is totally only to get to the military degree, and that if they would continue to do so, then they would within, and then it already is about, is it weeks, is it months, is it even a year? But the thing is that Iran has always denied everything at every stage along the way. They've never acquiesced, they've never complied. If they agreed to take down some of the things, then it would be, they would try a different path, because there are a lot of different ways to arrive at that nuclear fusion material, and they have very advanced technological capabilities. Okay, that's called siren time, guys. That was me. Okay, so, all right, we have to stay, all right, it's still staying next to a protected space. Michael, are you okay? Did you get it too?
Yeah, I got a threat.
Okay,
Like
it's
alarm,
I'm
that I have to.
willing, I'm close enough to my safe room. Michael, are you okay? Can you continue?
Only
You
5
wanna go?
minutes.
'Cause we have
Like
to go.
only 5 minutes. I have to get a range.
No, okay. I'm gonna have to say that I'm gonna be sorry, but this is not a war that we take lightly. These capabilities the Iranians have, okay? So I need to go to the safe room and
Yeah.
to make sure that everything there is closed and ready.
Okay,
Howard,
I
I'm
have
gonna
to go.
hand
I'm
back,
sorry.
Michael, back to you
Apologize.
guys. Okay, I'm leaving it for the moment because I don't want it to stay open, okay?
Okay, cool. You'll join us. We're going to chat for about another 10 minutes or so. If you're able to join us, please come back. If you're not able to join us, we absolutely understand. That's one of the dangers of actually broadcasting in the middle of a real war.